to unpack what this means for South Africans going into the 2024 elections next year. We're now joined by political analyst Dr. Ebrahim Harvey, and he joins us via our video link. Dr. Ebrahim, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Of course, we are told that South Africa already has 540 political parties. Over the past 3 months, 17 more new parties have been registered. Going into the elections next year, what do you make of so many political parties in South Africa already?
Yes, good evening. No, it's unprecedented. You know, in 1979, there was 48 parties contesting the elections, and it was a record. Now, can you see what has happened? The South African opposition terrain has fragmented like never before. I mean, from 49, 50 parties in 2019 to around over 500 today. But, there's this term political pluralism. It says a lot for that. It's healthy. But at the end of the day, you'll still have 4 or 5 parties, the dominant parties, the ANC, the EFF, the DA, that will run the show. So, but it speaks volumes for what you must do is this. You must see this plethora, this explosion of small opposition parties as an expression of how much political support the ANC has lost. In other words, you must see it in inverse proportion to the rapid political decline of the ANC. The mushrooming is the word of all these small, tiny opposition parties. I think in Mpumalanga, there's also a Bolsheviks party of South Africa that proclaims adherence to Marx-Leninism, a whole lot of stuff. It's funny, to be honest with you. It's amusing, it's healthy also, but at the end of the day, I don't think they'll make any formidable impact whatsoever. We'll see with Rise and Mzansi, what happens. I myself, to be honest with you, despite their best efforts, I don't think they'll make a big impact in this election. I still think it's going to be a 3-horse race. Well, with the IFP 4th, ANC, EFF, and the DA. I think that's still what is happening. But it's very interesting because it tells you how much the ANC has been dislodged. The ANC strode the political stage like a colossus from 1994, and now you can see, but the most important expression of political decline is not in national elections. They got 57% in 2019. Look at what has happened to the ANC in local government elections. They lost the powerhouse of production, nerve center of the economy, Gauteng, in both 2016 and 2021.
But at the same time, Dr. Harvey, when we look at, these amounts of political parties and now beginning to register for next year's elections, I know you are saying that some of them won't even make a dent in, the polls next year. And you're saying that, it will still be those bigger political parties. One would say that when you look at, so many people showing, like you are saying, their discontent towards the ANC, wouldn't you say that this is a democracy at play here where people are given many options, or do you think that it even causes more confusion for the voters? No, it's a very healthy, a very healthy expression of what is called political pluralism. Different voices, I mean, can you believe 540 parties from 49? What a dramatic explosion of small political parties. And as I said, it has to be seen in inverse proportion to the rapid decline of the ANC. I mean, who can believe, I just heard this morning, the administrative heart of Johannesburg, the biggest, most powerful municipality in Africa, has shut down. The civic center in Braamfontein, the transformers exploded, and then a fire broke up in the place where the transformer was. They've shut down the civic center, man. Can you believe it? A few days ago or so, this is the state in Johannesburg. I mean, if you ever needed any, I mean, this comes after the gas explosions in Joburg, the killings of people, the fire. So you have a massive infrastructural crisis in this country like you have never had before, which is an expression really of what has happened under ANC rule. I mean, even Parliament caught fire, and they still have to work on that fixing. So it's really all expressions of a political decline of the ANC. But the point I was trying to make is, at the end of the day, it says a lot for political pluralism. But at the end of the day, political power will be won and wielded by a few parties. It's the ANC, and even if they drop below 50, they'll still be the dominant party in that national coalition government that emerges if they fail to win 50 plus 1%, next year.
Yeah, and it was actually, I was coming to that issue because, I mean, we have been told on numerous occasions that South Africa may find itself, even at a coalition, at the national elections next year. What does it mean for the country if we find ourselves at a coalition, even at a national level? We have seen the instability. I mean, you've even told us about the chaos in the city of Johannesburg. We're even seeing it now in the city of Tshwane, another metro municipality. What does it mean for South Africans with so many political parties, and we are saying we're going to find ourselves under a coalition even at national level? What will that mean for South Africans?
This is what it will mean. It will mean that the ANC, it has never lost. It could have lost in local government elections, the powerhouse, Joburg and so on, but they've never lost a national coalition, a national election. So if they lose next year, it will be the first time you have a nationally constituted coalition government. We've had local, and you've seen what has happened, the mess. It will be the first time, but it will be healthy. To my mind, I've penned a number of columns on this very matter we're discussing now. I think it's healthy. I think we need to displace the dominance at a national level in Parliament of the ANC. You can see what it has brought us. So what I think will happen is that if the EFF and the DA forms a national coalition government with the ANC, they will act as a countervailing force to this untrammeled dominance of the ANC in Parliament, as you can see. So a healthy, a major gain, I would say, for South African politics, that if the ANC, and I don't think they're going to make it, I don't think the ANC, I've said it consistently for several months, since last year, in fact, the ANC, I think, is going to lose. I mean, you can see, what do you think? People are sleeping. Look what happened in 2016-21, how people voted in Joburg. Look at these fires. Look at all this infrastructural crisis there. The civic center shut down. I mean, it's a mess, And I think people are going to vote with their feet, is the expression next year. This is my sense of it. I don't think the ANC will make 50 plus 1%. I think you're looking at between 40 to 45% for the ANC. This is how much the ANC has become discredited amongst the mass of people. It's the truth. It's not an exaggeration at all.
All right, Dr. Harvey, thank you so much for that insight and your time here on SABC News.